Go.
When you eat proteins, we chew them in our mouth, and then the saliva is released. The salivary amylase and mucus mixes with saliva. The bolus goes to the back of the throat and we swallow it. The esophagus takes the bolus to the stomach. When the food reaches the stomach, gastrin is released. Gastrin causes the release of the gastric juices. HCl kills the bacteria in the food and creates a pH of 2.5. HCl also activates pepsinogen, which then turns it into an active form of pepsin. Pepsin digests the proteins into smaller polypeptides. The stomach mixes the food around. The acid chyme is slowly released into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. When the proteins reach the duodenum, two hormones are released. Secretin, which causes the release of the pancreatic juices, and CCK, which also causes the release of bile from the gallbladder and an additional release of pancreatic juice. Sodium bicarbonate neutralizes the pH to 8.5 so all the enzymes can work together at their optimum pH. Trypsin digests the smaller polypeptides into di- and tripeptides. Trypsin digests the smaller polypeptides into di- and tripeptides. The di- and tripeptides move further down into the small intestines. The glands in the small intestines release intestinal juices: peptidases, nucleases, maltase, sucrase, and lactase. The peptidases digest the di- and tripeptides into amino acids. The amino acids move into the capillaries of the villi. The capillaries are attached to the hepatic portal vein, which takes the amino acids to the liver. The liver may turn the amino acids into glucose if the body needs energy. Otherwise, the liver sends the amino acids to the heart, where they are pumped to the body cells. The body cells use proteins to build new cells and grow and repair new proteins during translation. The undigestible wastes continue into the large intestines, where water is reabsorbed and the feces are released from the body when the anal sphincter relaxes. When we eat nucleic acids, for example, peas, we chew them with our mouth. Saliva is released when salivary amylase and mucus mix with the saliva. The bolus then goes to the back of our throat and we swallow it. The esophagus takes the bolus to the stomach. When the food reaches the stomach, the gastrin is released. Gastrin causes the release of the gastric juices. HCl kills the bacteria in the food and creates a pH of 2.5. The stomach mixes the food around. The acid chyme is slowly released into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. When the nucleic acids reach the duodenum, secretin is released. Sodium bicarbonate then neutralizes the pH so all the enzymes can work at their optimum pH. Nucleases digest the nucleic acids into nucleotides.
Okay, hold on.
The nucleotides then move farther into the small intestine. The glands in the small intestine release intestinal juices: peptidases, nucleases, maltase, sucrase, and lactase. The nucleases further digest the nucleic acids into nucleotides. The nucleotides move into the capillaries of the villi. The capillaries are attached to the hepatic portal vein, which takes the nucleotides to the liver. The liver will send the nucleotides to the heart, where they are pumped to the body cells. The body cells use nucleotides to make DNA during DNA replication and RNA during transcription. The undigestible wastes then continue into the large intestine, where water is reabsorbed and the feces are released from the body when the anal sphincter relaxes.
Alright, so this time, I'm going to take that in a big old water ball.
Okay, so when we eat carbohydrates, we chew them with our mouth, obviously. The saliva is released and it's mixed with salivary amylase and mucus. The salivary amylase digests the cooked starch into maltose. The bolus goes back to the top of the throat and we swallow it. The esophagus takes the bolus to the stomach, and when the food reaches the stomach, the gastrin is released. Gastrin causes the release of the gastric juices. The HCl kills the bacteria in the food and creates a pH of 2.5. The stomach then mixes the food around. The acid chyme is slowly released into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. When carbs enter the duodenum, the hormone secretin is released. Secretin causes the release of the pancreatic juices. Sodium bicarbonate neutralizes the pH to 8.5 and all the enzymes work together at their optimum pH. The pancreatic amylase digests the uncooked starch and turns it into maltose. The maltose moves further down into the smaller intestines. The intestinal juices release the enzymes peptidases, nucleases, maltase, sucrase, and lactase. The maltase digests the maltose into 2 glucose molecules.
Hold on. Yeah.
The sucrase digests the sucrose into glucose and a fructose. And the lactase digests the lactose into glucose and galactose. The glucose, fructose, and galactose move into the capillaries of the villi. The capillaries are attached to the hepatic portal vein, which takes the monosaccharides into the liver. If the blood sugar is high, the pancreas will release insulin. Insulin will cause the liver to store glucose as glycogen. When the blood sugar drops again, the pancreas will release glucagon. Glucagon will go to the liver to release the glucose into the bloodstream. The blood will then go to the heart where it will be pumped to the body cells. The glucose will enter the cells and go into the mitochondria. The mitochondria will then turn the glucose into ATP via cellular respiration. The indigestible wastes continue into the large intestine, where water is reabsorbed and the feces are released from the body when the anal sphincter relaxes. So when you eat Twinkies, also known as a lipid, we chew them in our mouth, where our saliva is released and mixed with salivary amylase and mucus. The bolus of the food then goes to the back of the throat where we swallow it. The esophagus takes the bolus to the stomach. When food reaches the stomach, gastrin is released. The HCl kills the bacteria in the food and creates a pH of 2.5. The stomach mixes the food around. The acid chyme is slowly released into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. When the fats reach the duodenum, 2 hormones are released. Secretin, which causes the release of the pancreatic juices, and CCK, which causes the release of the bile from the gallbladder and an additional release of the pancreatic juices. Sodium bicarbonate neutralizes the pH to 8.5 so all the enzymes can work at their optimum pH. Bile emulsifies the fats into smaller droplets. Lipase breaks the smaller fat droplets into fatty acids and glycerol. The fatty acids and glycerol then move into the lacteals of the villi. The lacteals are connected to the lymphatic system, which takes the fatty acids and glycerol to the subclavian vein, which is in the shoulder. The fatty acids and glycerol move through the subclavian vein into the vena cava and into the heart. The heart pumps the fatty acids around the body and can be used for lots of things, such as insulation, protection of the organs, and energy storage in fat cells. The remainder of the undigestible food continues into the large intestine, where water is reabsorbed from the feces. The feces continue on until the anal sphincter is relaxed and the feces can leave the body.